Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay Podcast, your mom's favorite gaming podcast on the Internet. This week, we're here to talk about everything related to the Game Awards. I am one of your co-hosts, Kaylan, aka Catastrophe, joined as always by my co-host, Adam at CS Radical, and Chris, coming back from vacation, looking far more married than he did when he left, Chris at Jin and Chris. If you like that and you want to see more, you can find more of our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, searching for PixelPlay Podcast. We are also on YouTube if you want to look for us there. Once again, PixelPlay Podcast. You can see our lovely faces in all the episodes that we've done. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like the bell. It all helps out the algorithm gods that we don't understand. With that being said, guys, how's everybody doing? What have you guys been playing? How's married life, Chris?
The same. Minus this very heavy burden on my hand. No, I'm kidding. And also, I'll just admit, I was not prepared for that mom's favorite podcast comment, Kaylan. That nearly broke me. I almost would have asked you to redo that intro because that nearly broke me.
She just thinks we're such cute, like wholesome gentlemen, and
we are.
Thinks
we
we're
really
so sweet.
are.
Like she's the one that's gonna pinch us and be like, "Those boys are so nice. You should spend more time with them."
Except me. I shouldn't be here.
No, man, you're the cutest one. Come on.
That's only because I'm cleanly shaven.
Look at that face. Yeah, we've just got like a progression of like facial hairs.
Yeah. Put me in the middle. Adam over here. Kaylan, you go.
Yeah, we really should be setting it so that like I'm on this side or the other way. I guess it doesn't really matter, but
it's a scale of weeb to Kratos in beards.
So have you had a chance? I guess you've not been playing much, or have you been playing anything late night? What'd you play on the plane?
Actually, I beat a game because of the plane. I took my Switch, and I played nothing while I was there. I also was so upset because every time I go on vacation, I love reading a book. And last time I went on vacation, I read Jurassic Park for the first time, and like that book just like blew me away. So I had The Lost World ready to go in my bag and everything. I didn't even get a chance to open it because it's everybody a bunch of people are there, and you're supposed to. It feels like you're hosting them, even though you're all at like an all-inclusive and stuff. So I didn't have a lot of time. But on the plane, on the way there, I played a bit of a game, and then I played it on the way back, and then I beat it, which like completely shocked me. And it was Disney Illusion Island, I think.
Oh yeah, because that was nominated for Best Family Game.
Yeah. So
is that like that? Animal Crossing meets Disney or kind of game?
No, that's Dreamlight Valley. That's
okay.
That one I tried. I couldn't get into that. I don't need another big Animal Crossing style game in my life. No, this one is it's actually made by D La La Studios. They're the ones that did the Battletoads game that came out like 3 years ago, I think. Mm-hmm. They're kind of rebooting some stuff. It's a 4-player Metroidvania, but very family friendly in the sense that you don't actually attack anything. You keep getting new powers, much like a Metroidvania, but it's all about exploration. And even the bosses are actually more of a puzzle where it's like move around the screen, press these 5 switches, and then it hurts the main boss kind of idea. You never actually attack anybody. The game is actually delightful. It was a fun, simple, like I'm a Disney fan. I'm wearing a freaking Mickey shirt right now, as you can see. And it's actually a fun game. I only played single player. I kind of wish I had played 4-player, just because it's kind of designed for that, I think. And I have to imagine it would have gotten even easier because I beat this game in, I think, 5 hours total, and had it all done. My only gripe with it is they give you fast travel at the very end of the game. Like it's a Metroidvania and you're going all over this map and it's like, all right, you got to get to the top left. All right, next objective is like bottom right. Huge map. It doesn't take too long. It just feels long because the map looks so big. I just wish that they gave that fast travel earlier, and that would have made the game like something I actually would have explored to maybe 100% or something. But very simple game. It's got a lot of throwbacks, I would say, to like the older Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo
it definitely
era.
Gives me massive Earthworm Jim feel to it.
Yes. They definitely went with nostalgia factor. They even throw in jokes from previous games, where they'll mention like what was the Castle of Illusion? There was that one for Mickey Mouse, and they even mentioned kind of a DuckTales reference to Donald, kind of like when your uncle did this, he was much better at it, like kind of thing, where they're kind of teasing him. And it's also based on the Mickey Mouse cartoons that are, they're not for adults or anything by any means, but you know how Mickey Mouse is usually very child friendly? They have a cartoon that I would say is around for the same age group as, say, SpongeBob, where a lot of the adults actually do ring with adults a lot. It's like a slightly more adult cartoon that's pretty popular on Disney, and they went with that for this. So they actually throw out a lot of funny jokes that I don't think kids would get, but are funny regardless. Still very safe jokes, but definitely ones that you kind of have to like read into the satire and stuff that they're throwing around and the hidden meanings behind what they're saying and doing. But yeah, it's just a very simple game. It was just something I was like, all right, I need something short so I might beat something on the plane. And I saw it was in the Game Awards, and I'm like, all right, this fits. I've had this for a while. I actually got it to play with my niece and nephew and my now wife, and not a single one of them has touched it, and I got sick of waiting, so I beat it by myself.
Too bad you didn't have a captive audience on the plane. You could have been like, "Hey, are you busy? No, great. Grab a controller."
Yeah. Well, there was a few of us that brought our Switches so we could all play on the plane together. However, my one friend forgot to update his game before he came, so when we loaded up Mario Kart, he needed an update to play online or play multiplayer, so we couldn't do that. And then the other people were 30 rows behind us on the plane, so it was near impossible to actually connect with them too. So it was a big fail, epic fail in the Switch department. But I mean, it led to me actually beating a game, which I wasn't expecting to do during that week. So yeah.
Nice. What about you, Adam? What have you been up to this week?
Apart from trying to regain my voice from 4 straight fucking hours of talking on stream during the Game Awards, good goddamn lord, I'm never doing that again. I need to tell you about just how I've royally just ruined everything for you. So obviously I've been skipping Cyberpunk, right?
Oh my god.
So I finished Persona 5 Tactica, which is my current skip. Very much like the Yakuza game that I reviewed not too long ago. Very decent in the start, and then the second half got really emotionally invested. I nearly fucking cried at the end on this game too, and it was a lot of fun. I would strongly suggest anybody who loves tactics games to get into that. It's definitely like, it's, unless you're playing on the really hard difficulties, it's not nearly as challenging as, say, like an XCOM would be, but it's enough that, like, I was even playing on the easier difficulties just to get through it without having to worry too much. But even the side quests that will give you extra XP or extra bonuses and stuff, they're almost like puzzles, because it's, oh, you got to make sure you kill all these enemies in one turn. It's less like finishing like an entire mission so much as it's a, hey, try to figure out how to actually use all your abilities to do this all in one fell swoop, which, if you're playing on the harder difficulties, are must plays for you, because it's the only way you're going to learn how to literally break the game apart. Now, on easy mode, I can just do whatever the hell I want. It's fine. But those puzzles, man, like, there were a couple I had to Google because they are fucking precise what you need to do. So it was interesting. So I finished it, and you think, okay, you can probably play Cyberpunk now. Nope. Played the Super Mario RPG Remake on Switch and completely finished that. Loved that. I did do exactly what I said I was going to do, Chris. I played with basically the original OST on most of the game. I would always like flip back to see what the new songs sound like, but almost immediately I just take it back. Because like I said, I don't know what it is about the orchestration, but they don't carry the same lighthearted vibe that the original Super Nintendo audio chip does. It just feels off. And also, why are there cutscenes with dialogue without voices? It's really weird. So like you'll have cutscenes where it's clearly like Bowser or Mallow saying something, but it's just text on the screen as they're opening their mouths, and you're like, is there a bug in this game? And you realize, nope, they just didn't put audio dialogue in there. They didn't even do like noises. Like, you think like how Animal Crossing or any other Nintendo game has just like bullshit language. They don't even do that. Like, the Toads have noises they make when they talk. Why doesn't everybody else? They all just fucking mimes? What's going on?
I have a theory about that.
Oh, go ahead.
My theory is that there was no voice for Mallow or Gino, and no one knows what they sound like. And if they chose a voice for them, 70% of the internet would just be like, that's the wrong voice. That's not how I pictured it. Now, I think doing sounds like Animal Crossing or something would have been better. I think having some sort of sound there, but getting an actual
even just
voice,
straight up like like just some sort of like, because it wasn't like, I'm not saying it was bad. It was just odd to see a cutscene where there's like vocal words being spoken with no sound. It was very odd. It's very strange to listen to, or I guess not listen to in that case. But like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I ended up I tried as hard as I could, Chris, to do super jumps. Like I got about 19 was my best one. I couldn't do it either. It's just I don't know how people do 100. Whenever I watch speedrunners do it, even on the old SNES game, I'm like, how? I can't do even half of that. I can't even do a quarter of that more often than not.
Yeah, I couldn't get it at all.
But like everything was what I wanted it to be. All the places looked fantastic. Having to see like the Axum Rangers fight in full on, 3D boss battle, like full on cutscene level was awesome. So like thoroughly enjoyed that. And I'm glad that I got to that before the end of the year because it gave me a little bit more to kind of work with. Because going through my list of what's going to be potentially up for any awards that we do or Game of the Year conversation was getting pretty easy, and then a couple of games at the last minute slid in to really make it interesting. But that's not all. I'm still keeping it going, Kaylan, because now I'm playing Star Ocean: The Second Story R as well because I need to play more JRPGs in lieu of Cyberpunk, which I am now, I want to say like 30, 40 hours in. And I'm thoroughly loving that. I honestly have never attached to Star Ocean all that well. And it was really interesting to me to actually have a game that, like, for the first time in a while clicked. I think it's also the art style, like having the Octopath Traveler sort of 2.5D style really helps it a lot. It really does make it seem very unique. And the battle system, I think, is about where I wanted to. I think I've always liked Star Ocean better when it's side-scrolling, too. Like, in the same way of, like, I remember Tales of Phantasia for the Super Nintendo, and I enjoyed that a lot better than I enjoy, like, the older Tales games where it's a full 360 3D plane. So it does seem to work a little bit better in that way. The English dialogue, which is what I decided to go to, is fine. There's a specific point where I'm sure, Chris, because I'm sure you've played through the original.
No, I haven't played through Star Ocean.
Oh, you've
at
actually
all.
This is one of the ones you've missed, eh? There's one character who his gimmick is that he has two dragons fused to his body. And there's a point where he gets forced to sing a song about him and his dragon friends, and even the dragons in really bad English voice acting go "Roar, roar," like along with the song. I'm like, okay. I had to pause for a second. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die laughing if I don't compose myself. But the game itself, battle system's pretty solid, music's pretty solid, the visuals are solid. Story's actually maybe my favorite in all of Star Ocean, which is not a high bar to clear because Star Ocean games tend to get really nonsensical very quickly. But that's just JRPGs in general. They have a hard time keeping a lot of things stuck together. But for now, I'm enjoying it. Probably should finish it before the year's up, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to play next. But that's not the end of the story. Because I do need to tell Kaylan I am engaging in some cyberpunk material. It's just not the game, it's the anime, which I am now starting to watch.
No,
I've heard that anime is amazing.
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of giving a reaction to this. No.
Too bad, because the cyberpunk anime after 4 episodes is fucking amazing.
You know what else is amazing? Really the Cyberpunk game.
I'll figure it out at some point.
Adam, what console are you playing Star Ocean on? Are you playing on PC, PS5?
Switch.
Makes sense. Honestly, this game looks amazing, and then you started talking about what the story is like, and I lost it when you said fuse to dragons and make them sing, and I'm like, no, never mind. I'm out.
I mean, you should have figured it out right away when you knew it was a JRPG. Like, we know this isn't going to work with you.
I was like, yeah, this is not for me at all. And then I'm like, oh, the art style looks pretty cool. This looks fun. And then I'm like, nope, I'm so out.
It's funny.
Also, I don't know. It would take you forever to finish this game.
Yeah, that's probably.
Because I know the level cap in this game, I believe, is like 250, and I'm only at 85. So I've got some work to do.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 dragons, and my first thought was, I need to drop everything I'm doing right now and go pick up this game. But no, this is the second game, right? I have to play the first one.
Yeah, it's a remake of the second story.
Yeah, okay, I got to play first story.
Or I guess is it Second Evolution? Because I know First Departure is the PSP version of the first game. I'm pretty sure Second Evolution is the version of that on PSP, which was, I think, mostly a port, but this is an actual like full-on remake.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. And there's dragons fused to people's bodies who sing, so it's the only 2 things I actually look for in a game.
My only honest, like, if I'm legitimately going to make a complaint about this game, it does the thing that a lot of JRPGs back in the day used to do, which is have party members that you can either miss or fail to recruit depending on what you do. So you only get a max of 8, and there are more than 8 characters, and some of them are even locked because you, at the beginning of the game, pick one of the 2 main characters that you're focused on. So I guess it's also for replayability. You can play it from the other character side, so you see more stuff from their end rather than the other if you go through a second time. I sure as shit won't. I don't have that much time anymore. But like there are certain characters, party members that are tied to picking that route. So if you like that character, tough shit. And there are other characters that if I hadn't known existed, because as soon as I realized that Star Ocean Till the End of Time did a similar thing where you could lock some characters out, I immediately went, okay, who is available in this game? And I started looking through, like, there's some that had I just said yes to everybody across the board as soon as I got them, I wouldn't even get the chance to recruit a couple. And their designs were way cooler than other ones that I had. So I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, it should be a case of, like, I would get it if they go, you can recruit as many people as you want, but in the same way of, like, in most games, you can only have so many in your party. They could just say, hey, like, you leave the rest of them at your home base, or they stay at the inn in the town that you're in, or whatever. Instead, there's a chance you could literally have a max of 8, and then a character comes along that you haven't seen yet, and they're like, oh, that seems like someone that could join us, and then your main character just says, I feel like we're just not going to see these people ever again suddenly. And that's the cue to you being like, that character's gone forever. Hope you like them. Too bad.
Wow. Brutal.
Yeah.
Kaylan, what have you been playing?
I mean, Adam called me out and said it would take me forever to play this game because it takes me forever to play games. Still making my way through Spider-Man.
Through Spider-Man? That was a weekend.
Shut up. Shut up. I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, so I'm probably 80 or 90% of the way through the main story. Yeah, so I'm liking it. I was giving my gripes to Adam earlier before we started recording. Like, I'm liking the game, but I have 3 gripes with the game. One, I don't like symbiote Spider-Man. Like, gameplay wise, he's cool, he's fun, but he's a jerk. And I get the whole story. He's supposed to be a jerk, but he's not fun to have as a main character. Like, he's a dick, and it's like, oh, I'm not enjoying like the quippy, like, he's not as entertaining to spend a whole time playing with as he is as regular Spider-Man. I get it from a narrative perspective, but it's just from an experience, it's not as fun. Second, I find that they spam like the enemy fodder way too much. It's just like you get into a room and there's like 15 guys, and it's just kind of repetitive in that sense, and I'm not loving it. It kind of feels like a button masher. It doesn't feel like a DMC game. It just feels like a button masher. But my biggest gripe with the game, and this is not a spoiler at all, is that I like all the bosses have multi-phase health bars. And at first I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I thought I beat him, and it turns out I didn't. But now it's getting to the point that every single boss has at least one phase health bar. And I hate that. I've always hated that in games, and I hate it even more in this game because it happens so frequently. Every single boss gets a multi-phase thing, and it's annoying. I don't know if that was a gripe. I haven't listened to the podcast you guys did because I didn't want to spoil it, but like, it was something that did not resonate with me, and I don't love it. Otherwise, I'm loving the game. I love swinging at Spider-Man. The game is absolutely gorgeous. I'm playing it on that like mixed kind of indecisive on the fence mode, where it's like kind of ray tracing, kind of like FPS, kind of resolution, and it's amazing. It is probably one of, if not the best looking game on the PlayStation 5. So
Absolutely.
that's where I'm at there. The other game that I've been dabbling my toes in that's got its hooks back into me, Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh.
I've been playing that. Yeah, I've been playing that quite a lot. It's been nice. I've been getting up early for some reason, and I just come downstairs and I play that in the morning while I wait for everyone to wake up and start my day. And man, what a way to start your day on a weekday. Just like playing a little bit of like Zelda and just going around adventuring. I was working on finding all the great fairies, and I've done that. But yeah, it's that game, the hooks got into me. I don't give a crap about the story at all. Like, I don't care, but I'm having so much fun just going on these little side quest missions and just exploring Hyrule. So yeah, I still haven't done the first thing where you're supposed to go find like those 4 anomalies or whatever. I've done like 3 of them. I've done like 3 of them, but I've got like 2 stamina wheels and like a dozen hearts. And so, yeah, like, is there more? Like, you're gonna spoil the game a little, but like, is there another main mission after that, or is it like Breath of the Wild, where it's just do those 4 anomalies and then you're off to go fight Ganon?
There is a few more after that.
Okay.
There is a few more after that, yeah. And there's something like, I want to say 30-something hearts you can get in total in the end. So you still have a lot more you can do if you want.
Yeah. But yeah, that game's like hitting me in all the right spots, and I'm totally going with it now. So yeah.
Have you been doing the mission where it's like there's an image on the ground, like a crop circle looking kind of thing?
Yeah, I've been not like going out of my way doing it, but I've been doing it as I come across them.
That was my favorite thing for some reason, like finding one of those and then revealing a little more of what happened a long time ago in the past or whatever it was. I was so into that, and I have no idea why.
Yeah,
I think it's just the puzzle part.
Yeah, like I like that part. I just don't give a shit about like the story aspect of like what's going on. Like Zelda's talking to a goat man, like whatever. I don't give a shit.
How dare you talk of the King of Hyrule such ways?
Yeah. Anyways, we've been talking about some great games, but that's only some of the great games that have come out in this year. With that being said, let's segue into the Game Awards. Those happened last week. Adam, you've been an absolute champ, streaming that 4-hour thing, so we have the review. So Chris and I don't need to watch it because 4 hours.
I mean, you can watch the VOD if you want, but I mean,
so
I feel like as much as I enjoyed being there with everybody, I also am very happy that I don't have to do it again.
Hey, dude, next year.
You did such a good job. We're gonna make you do it next year.
We should do it again next year. It just won't be fucking me doing it alone, because that sucked. I don't know how I had a voice the next day, because I try, especially because obviously with a lot of trailers, there's going to be a lot of copyright music. I had to talk a lot to cover shit, so we couldn't potentially get friggin' copyright striked.
I got nothing to say, but I don't want to get copyright strike.
I mean, at some point you do just say, please don't copyright, please don't copyright. It's good content. Who cares?
That is good content.
So Adam, do you want to start by going through the results of our like little contest we had last week, our predictions?
Yeah, so I'll just go straight to the end here. So our scores, and I'll work from left. Oh my god, I can't point from left to right here. Kaylan, you finish. And by the way, just to start off, I started off like shit. Did that continue? Well, Kaylan, you finished with 26 points.
Okay.
So you did pretty well. Chris, you finished with, actually no, I'll go with me. I finished with 27. And Chris, drum roll, 23.
Yeah, I got
You started off fucking strong. Like, Kaylan, you and Chris started real fucking strong, and I was getting worried because y'all pulled out a couple ones that I was like, shit, I really should have gone with that. Like Baldur's Gate, for example, getting best performance. I'm like, why didn't I just fucking pick Baldur's Gate? I had to go with my heart and just go with Yuri Lowenthal and Spider-Man. And then also, Chris, you got Cocoon for debut indie. That was a big one too. I was like, ooh, that's gonna burn me.
What a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
And then I just
played it.
As the stream went on, I just slowly but surely just started nibbling away, and eventually I finally caught over, and it just didn't. And it's like the last few awards, I started realizing, I'm like, I think I'm safe now, because we pretty much by the end of it, it was all the awards that we were mostly in agreement on. I'm like, I think I'm good now, because I don't know how it changes. But obviously, we'll go through like what was actually there, because I mean, for those that didn't get a chance to catch it, or I've already kind of forgotten after. Well, I mean, I don't blame people that have forgotten certain awards, because I think what most people remember was like the 75 Fortnite ads that were littered throughout the entire show. Because that was a thing. I'll talk about that in a minute when I go to vent on everything I thought about it. But Fortnite, obviously, Game of the Year was Baldur's Gate. No surprise, was Game of the Year. I don't think any of us are really that shocked. Because I mean, we all voted for it, so I mean, I'm a little sad that like the big spoiler out of all this, Spider-Man got 7 nominations and got nothing. I felt so bad for Insomniac being like, you guys got all the recognition without any of the accolades. Poor bastards.
I mean, like, it's a good game, and I'm in it right now, and it's a good game, like a really good game. But it
I
is a very
felt the same way about how
game.
like Horizon, the one year that like God of War was also at the same year, and it's like, Horizon, you're not even the best Sony game this year. I feel bad for you. But yeah, that was the big one. I'm really happy going on to game direction that Remedy actually cleaned up quite a bit at the Game Awards. I was really happy about that. I'm never going to play that game most likely, but like those guys have been chipping away in the same way that like CD Projekt Red or Arcane Leon like have just been slowly like getting in the good graces of people over the years and have been kind of like, I wouldn't say underappreciated, but under accoladed. They just haven't gotten like the award recognition for
Under
it.
recognized, yeah.
But like, yeah, but like people definitely know that like when Remedy's name is on something, it's usually going to be good quality. And this is the first year that they really got it. And you could see that, I believe it was the Game Direction Award, that when Sam Lake, who plays one of the characters in the game too, like you could tell like they were crushed, like in a good way. Like they were so fucking happy to finally have like their big day, because they got it a couple of times. And also they got to fucking dance on stage with Poets of the Fall being Old Gods of Asgard for Herald of Darkness, which was easily the highlight. And like was such a cool moment, because we all thought, okay, the guys will be there on stage and like play the song. There's no way they're gonna recreate the music video, and they fucking did. They had most of the actors back. They had the guy who's like playing Alan Wake in the music video, and he's doing the full-on dance. They had Mr. Door. They had, I can't remember the guy that Sam Lake plays, and they had like the voice actor for Alan Wake singing the parts, doing all that, and then at the end they all did the same dance at the end. I'm like, that was beyond what I expected to. And you could tell like just the look of elation at all of them, that they're like, I can't believe we're fucking doing this. I can't believe we're getting to do this on a fucking stage. And like millions of people are watching this. It's fucking crazy. So I felt like so happy for them. They actually got the chance to really show their shit, because they honestly deserve it. Like they did a fantastic job. So I'm just waiting for the Game Awards side to load up again. Yeah, they did narrative as well, which I was kind of surprised by. I figured that Baldur's Gate, that would have been one of theirs to take, but I mean, it was one of those award nights where you keep assuming that it's just going to be like the same two games, and then just they flip, and you're like, okay, whatever. Art direction still Alan Wake, so we were getting in that case. No one was shocked that Final Fantasy 1 score and music. It's literally like the only good thing they did this year with that game, because it wasn't.
You said it, not
else.
me. I was gonna say it, but you said it, not me.
Well, look, I'm the one that never finished it, so.
Man, what a bizarro year it is. Kaylan's playing a JRPG and Adam didn't finish it.
Well, anybody who's listened to me over the many, many years I've podcasted understands that, yeah, that's not surprising that he played a Final Fantasy game and fucking hated it now. Because he's been touting that horn for about 20 years. Oh, let's see. Audio design, Hi-Fi Rush. I should have gone with that, because that literally the game was designed around its audio, but instead I kept thinking music, not audio design, but that made sense. I'm glad they got something. Like I said earlier, Neil Newman getting best performance. Should have just gone with the Baldur's Gate vote, but again, I couldn't help myself. I just had to assume Yuri Lowenthal was going to win. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught like bits and pieces of the show, but like the best part was that all night, whenever they were doing awards, like with the full like Oscar experience of like they show people in the crowd as they're looking for the award, Idris Elba was the only person to not show up. So while the entire show you see like the camera shots of everybody that's part of the team, it was just a still stock image of Idris Elba in the window, and that was it. Like it was just really fucking funny to see, like, man, like everybody was there except like probably the biggest name in terms of any of the celebrities that they showed off.
Mm-hmm.
Accessibility, that's not a thing. Impact, we didn't really cover. Best ongoing, easily the most controversial to people, because there's an argument that Cyberpunk isn't technically ongoing, to which I say, I don't care. Like at this point,
I'm jumping in on this, because like I heard these people saying too, like, oh, it's like they're just fixing their game, it's not an ongoing. No, shut up. They've gone beyond what they need to do. Like they have redesigned this game. Like the Cyberpunk you're playing today, the 2.1, 2.12, whatever patch we're on, has completely transformed the game. Like the skill trees are different, the mechanics are different. Like it is a brand new game from what we got in 2020. To say that it's just them patching and fixing a broken game, no, it's not the case. Like they've basically overhauled and redid this. This is almost borderline. No, I'm not gonna say it's that. That's a bit stretch. But like they've gone and reimagined this game in a way. Like,
well, I mean, even look at the description. It just even says awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. That fits Cyberpunk to a T, and that's not even counting the expansion. Like, even if we just take the expansion away, the amount of change that game has gone through in the last 12 months is pretty substantial. But like, I personally don't even care whether or not it's actually should be considered. I'm just happy Fortnite and Genshin Impact didn't win, because those fuckers shouldn't deserve anything anymore.
Yeah, that's my actual victory right there.
Because, I mean, I should loop Apex Legends into that too, because meh, but like, they don't usually win anyway. It's usually Fortnite or Genshin, so fuck them. Community support, no one cares. Independent game. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was debut indie, not independent game. Sea of Stars won for independent, and Cocoon won for debut indie. That's right. So, you know, I'm glad again that Sabotage got their flair, and then Cocoon, if I pull up debut, there it is there. So both of them, a lot of Pizza Tower fans were not happy, to which I understand. I get it. Also, debut indie is a little strange because yes, Geometric, I believe, is a brand new studio, but it's also part of Annapurna, which is not. So there is an argument there, but also it's an award, guys. It's fine. Who cares?
Yeah.
But regardless, like, I mean, look, at least Pizza Tower got nominated. That game came out so early in the year that there was a possibility it just got forgotten, right? So, like, it's so easy for that to happen, too. It's why I'm amazed Hi-Fi Rush won a award at all, because I was sitting there being like, this game might not even get nominations by the time this year's up, because that thing came out in, like, what, early February?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's also kind of what happened to Star Wars, too. I think Star Wars suffered from just kind of getting forgotten by the end of the year.
But Jedi Survivor, now that's just because it wasn't a good game.
This guy over here, this guy triggering.
I try my best. Mobile game, no one cares. VRAR, no one cares. Although Resident Evil winning is not surprising. Best action game, I'm a little surprised that Hi-Fi Rush didn't win and Armored Core did, even though I'm pretty sure I gave a vote to it because of From Software needing to win an award by law, apparently, if you're Jeff Keighley.
Wasn't I at one point, like, I thought I had a vote for this and then I, like, backed out of it or something like that?
Yeah, I think you backed out. I can't remember which you went with as your second get, because I think we all put a vote in for Hi-Fi Rush anyway, and it was just a matter of what, like, the other vote was going to. But, like, this is still a category that I'm like, how did some of these games make it? Like, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but, like, they don't strike me as games that anybody's been talking about. Like, I love Ghost Runner. It's a great idea, but no one was talking about Ghost Runner 2. Dead Island 2, I wasn't even aware was, like, getting positive reviews. And Remnant 2,
Dead Island 2
I just
got
hadn't
really
heard
good
anything
reviews.
about it all.
Dead Island 2 definitely got good reviews. I remember that.
Yeah, like, it's just one of those things where, in the same way of, like, the best anticipated game, or most anticipated game, where I looked at some of them and be like, I don't think people have been talking about it that much, but hey, it is what it is. What else? Action Adventure Tears of the Kingdom. What a surprise.
Easy.
That was
Easy.
probably the... Actually, we thought Baldur's Gate was the easiest layup. No, this was the easiest layup of all of them.
Easy. Oh, yeah.
Also because we knew that Baldur's Gate was going to be cleaning up for the most part, so Tears of the Kingdom had to at least win something so that the Nintendo fanboys would chill the fuck out. Best RPG, Baldur's Gate. What a surprise. Game of the Year won also the best category it was from. Shocking, I know. Street Fighter 6 won Best Fighting. I feel so bad for Capcom because they got looped into the awards that no one gets to do a speech for. And I'm like, man, if anyone deserves some props, it's Capcom for making Street Fighter 6 a fucking near Game of the Year nominee. And they don't even get to say anything about it. My God, poor bastards for that. There's a lot of people too. Like, they put a lot of awards in the we're not letting you get a speech, so we're just gonna rifle through these. And I'm like, man, that's gotta suck. Like, same with Sea of Stars. Like, they win Best Indie, they don't even get to make a speech. Like, that's rough.
Yeah, I want to jump in on that. Like, I feel like indie is one of those ones. Like, I feel like the debut, like game and indie, like those are ones that should get a moment in the sun. Like,
because that's gonna make people want to go develop games because that's their moment.
Well, not only that, but like, you know, Capcom can do a E3 style like press release. They have the money, they have the clout. They can be like, hey, we're doing a press conference and people will watch it, right? In the same way that Bethesda can do it, CD Projekt Red can. But like a small indie developer can't be like, hey, we're doing we're gonna have our own press conference. No one's gonna pay attention. So like this is one of the few moments where they have the attention of the industry on them and they don't get it, right? Like the only way that they get that exposure now is when they are a footnote in like a Sony State of Play or like, you know, a Nintendo Direct, and they're just not even typically the highlight. They're a footnote. They're a passing by. Like I feel like those were two categories. Yeah, they're usually they're labeled as filler, right? By me, like I labeled them as filler. Like this is a moment where they can have the attention and they can kind of, you know, like advertise themselves. They can promote themselves, and I feel like those were two categories that probably should get a little bit of time for them to kind of be like, hey, let us introduce ourselves to you.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely talk about that when we get into after we go through all the awards too, because I've got a lot to say on that front. Best family was Super Mario. Again, not surprising. Sorry, Chris, no Sonic Superstars awards for you.
Sonic got
Suck
robbed.
it, Sonic.
No. Sonic.
Once again, Sonic gets curb stomped by Mario.
I mean, what a shock, right?
Dogs chase cats, and Mario beats Sonic. Suck it, Chris.
Pretty much.
Cats
for best sim and
sometimes.
strategy makes sense.
still think it
Sports
should
and
be
racing,
there
Forza Motorsport. I'm almost disappointed that they didn't just really go for the troll and give it to EA Sports FC just because it would have been real fucking funny. But no, it did go to the only like well-lauded sports racing game out there. Baldur's Gate for multiplayer, which again just enhances what I've said, where if I'm ever going to play it, I'm going to probably end up playing it with somebody else. I don't care what Kaylan says. You're not selling me any differently because I already know how I am solo. Best adaptation, The Last of Us. Actually, never mind, I lied. That was the easiest layup of the entire show. I forgot.
Nah, Twisted Metal.
And that's even saying something with the Mario Brothers movie, but let's be honest, like there was no way Last of Us wasn't winning that.
It could have gone either. It could have gone either way with Mario or with Last of Us. Because, like, if you think about it, like the Mario movie's pretty impressive for what they did. They took a character that has very little personality in a story that has very little narrative, and they made like a decent movie out of it.
But my argument would then just be, but the critic darling, it's basically a no-brainer.
I am not defending. I'm not saying that Mario was robbed. I'm saying that. Like,
also, the Mario movie isn't. Like, really, like, if there were a couple more decent adaptations, like, I wouldn't even have it in my top 3, but it's only number 2 because it's, like, the other 3 are just, like, not to say they're bad, but it's more just, like, meh. Like, the Mario movie, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, like, I wouldn't sit there and be like, oh, this is the best thing all year.
But the argument I have is that look what they did with Mario versus, like, based on the amount that they had to use, like, they had to work with, and what they made, versus, like, let's be honest, The Last of Us in itself, a game, is pretty much a movie. Like, there is very little work you have to do to translate that to a show.
But look, just because the Mario movie didn't, like, trip over the underground bar that the original Super Mario movie said does not make it a massive achievement.
What I'm hearing is that Adam likes the Sonic movie more.
I mean, in all honesty,
once again,
I really
Chris,
sit down and
Chris,
think of it,
once
I might
again,
actually like the original Sonic movie more than the Mario movie.
But I'm just saying, once again, Mario here stomping on Sonic, like.
Now, the second Sonic movie against the Mario movie, now we can have a conversation, but. And I think,
so you don't like
the last
Tails.
one, and then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth winning the most anticipated game. When I'm going to be honest, I know you guys like your Star Wars, but it's Ubisoft. There was no competition, really. Like, if you really think about it, Tekken and Like a Dragon should not have been casted. And we just know now that unless in some crazy aspect it gets released early, GTA is taking this award next year, and it's not even going to be close.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just in a nutshell covering that part. But like, it's this and Best Action Game were the 2 awards that I looked at the list and being like, was that really the best ones you could find? You want to double check that before you do anything?
I'm surprised by this one too. Like we talked about it before, Hades 2. I think that's a very small vocal minority, like Dragon.
But I think that one had a chance because it was so well received by the community that would be voting on it. That was my logic. I think I actually gave my runner up to that because I thought if there was anything other than Final Fantasy that was going to win, that would have been my bet because I know Jeff really and his group really fucking loves Hades. So I was playing the I know Jeff Keighley better than anyone else card.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's bigger games that I think if you ask more people, are they excited for? Like, we got Wolverine, we have Metal Gear Solid Delta. Like, there's bigger games that are coming out than
Well, that was a
Tekken
surprise
8.
because that's why even as a Yakuza fan, I couldn't believe that Like a Dragon was in there because I'm like, man, I love this series, and even I wouldn't put that in my top 5 maybe. So,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
my top 5, let alone a critic's top 5.
Maybe Hades is in there just because it's kind of it fits the indie part of most anticipated. You got to kind of have one because, I mean, the people do talk about it nowhere near as much as Final Fantasy and stuff. By having one indie game in there might be just that indie crowd.
Yeah, and that made sense
that's
too.
their main crowd. That's their main type of game only. And they might get enough votes if they kind of go with that. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, I totally see that too. But that was it because, I mean, we could go over the esports awards, but I don't care. In fact, weirdly enough, because on stream they did those awards and I just started guessing them. I actually did pretty well for guessing 1 out of 5. I'm just like, okay. For the content creator, I'm like, okay, Iron Mouse I know it's a VTuber and it's the only person that I know who it is. They'll probably win, and they won. And then with the esports coach, I'm like, I know only one of them is the only female on this list. It's probably her, and she won. I'm like, see, I don't even know what's going on with these awards, and I know how they're voting for it. We're good.
I think we got robbed the fact that we weren't nominated for like YouTube personality.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
but you can't win them all. I mean, we can't be there every year because otherwise, like, who else is gonna win? We're like the Mr. Beast of gaming content.
I mean, once again, when you're the outsider, when you're speaking truth to power, like you're gonna rile people up, and they're not gonna want to like include you. So that's why we're not there.
Because everybody's mom didn't vote.
Yeah,
And that's our biggest like fan base.
that's
really
really
a good point.
that's our core audience.
Yeah.
It's basically
all the moms
you
out
that's
there.
listening, and all your mom and her friends. That's basically it. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Steve. Your name's probably not Steve, but there's someone named Steve who just flipped the fuck out.
I mean, who
He's
knows?
like,
Maybe 5 years down the road, somebody randomly shows this show and is like, wait, did he know about me 5 years ago? What? Before we go on to actually talking about the content of the show itself in terms of how it was put together and everything else and a lot of the complaints people had, is there any trailers that you guys want to highlight too if you caught any of the ones that were shown off?
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's just do like
I'll,
a top 3.
I'll go across the board. So, Kaylan, what was the biggest one to you that you saw that you're really excited for?
The one that I am most excited for was Exodus. That game looks really cool.
And if that's the one I
game does look
remember,
cool.
was that the one that Matthew
Mass
McConaughey
Effect
came out
Studio.
to?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that pissed me off because they didn't even mention that it was being done by the ex-Mass Effect developers. Like, it was a bunch of BioWare people, but they didn't say that before revealing the trailer. And I'm like, guys, I know you're going celebrity happy here, but like, that's a big deal to guys like me who are fucking tired of BioWare and we want the old Mass Effect back. Like, that you sell us that, like, all you do is say, and here's a game that's being produced by some of the old developers of the Mass Effect trilogy. And I would have been like, what?
See, like, for me, it was like the top 3 for me were Exodus, Rise of the Ronin, and the one that it was called the last. What the heck is this called?
Last Sentinel, I think it was.
The Last Sentinel. That one looked really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3 for me that were the coolest.
Chris, what about you? What was the big ones that you saw?
Number 1, Jurassic Park Survivor. I need that game in my life. Holy
Literally
hell, that
during
looked
stream,
amazing.
I saw that and I had like 3 different sets of friends. I'm like, you need to see this now.
Yeah, that was me in a nutshell right there. When I saw that, I was like, oh, somebody's still on the island from the original Jurassic Park. Yes. Yeah, and the theme started playing a bit. Oh, and it's like
now
perfect.
wait, when
not
it's
like
actually not what you think it is, and it's just going to be a like open world, like third person shooter where you just have to collect loot and build yourself a base.
Survival, like Ark.
Oh no, guys, don't ruin it. It looks really good.
Like, honestly, like when you really think about like what a Jurassic Park Survive game should be Alien Isolation, but with a T-Rex.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, it didn't look like
not
there
in the
was
sense
many
of jump
weapons.
scaring you, but in the sense of when you hear the, you're like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so in for that game. Yeah, that's my number 1 easily. Even though there's other games I'm picking up day 1 and stuff in there that I'm so excited for. That was something I wasn't expecting. And it was exactly, I'm the demographic for that game. Like, that's me right there.
Like, I know it's in-game, or I know it's like, well, potentially in-game cutscenes or like some sort of like cutscene footage. There was a moment where I thought it was live action because I was sitting there being like, what is this, like a fucking movie or something? And then I finally caught a glimpse of something. I'm like, no, this is gameplay, or this is like in-game graphics. I'm like, damn, that looked good for a sec. Like I actually got fooled for a minute.
Yeah, I'm picking that up so bad, so much. Oh my god. Yeah, that's my number one. What about you, Adam?
Easily, because, and it wouldn't have been if they had just announced the game without saying what the studio is, but as soon as it was Arcane Leon making a Marvel's Blade game in Paris, I'm like, and it's third person, and I don't think Arcane Leon has actually done a third person game, because all their games have always been first person with Deathloop and Dishonored and such. And I went, I did not know I needed that, and now I need to see how much I need this, because that's exactly my shit. Because again, in the same way of like Insomniac doing Spider-Man or now do with Wolverine, I feel like with these games, I'm a lot more confident now because it seems like they're not just doing, oh, here's another copy and paste of the same formula that somebody else is doing. Whereas they go, hey, we're getting a developer that already has a really good track record with doing something else and giving them something that is not like a big thing. Like, it's not like they're giving them Captain America. They're giving them Blade, which is an interesting concept because it's nothing we don't get to see very often. And again, it's the idea of a setting in Paris rather than what you would always expect of being in the States, where you go, well, that's also interesting. And again, like, I trust Arcane Leon with a lot of stuff. A lot of people were telling me, well, the last thing they need was Redfall. Why would you trust them? I'm like, no, that's Arcane Austin. It's not the same thing. It's the same company altogether, but it's not the same studio. So it's different. It's the Deathloop guys. It's the Dishonored guys. And despite, like, I don't personally like Dishonored that much, but, like, I know that those guys make fucking quality.
Absolutely.
Now, I know which one, Chris, you and I agree on.
I was going to say, it's funny, my top three were Jurassic Park, Blade, and then Final Fantasy VII, obviously.
Not true, because that doesn't count, because if I put that as my number one, that's cheating, because it's already been a thing for a while.
Trails of Mana, right?
Nope. I honestly am not a big Mana person anymore. Chris, the Sega package of 5 different remakes?
Oh, can we talk about that? We fucking called it. Sega, we want our checks in the mail. We called it. Crazy Taxi is back.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Crazy Taxi, I forgot about that. Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Streets of Rage. And they're all not remasters. They're not repackaging. They are straight up brand new remakes.
Yeah.
They look amazing too. Like, I was watching every single one. I'm like, I'll play that. I'll play that. I'll play that.
I'll play all 5 of them. I have not
Sega.
As much confidence in Golden Axe because Golden Axe, anything since the Sega Genesis has been god awful. But you never know. But I mean, there's no way I'm not gonna like Crazy Taxi unless they do some weird monetization bullshit to it. And even then, I'll probably still play a little bit of it because it's still fucking Crazy Taxi. Like, how do you drive around for a small amount of time and just destroy shit? So unless they make it into some open world like GTA game, then we have a problem. But I don't think they're doing that.
I mean, they can make it like a Simpsons hit and run.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily hate that, but I think I'd still prefer just the arcadiness that Crazy Taxi is because it's kind of
I hope they do it as like a $20, like do it like a $20 game, leaderboards, all that kind of stuff. Just make it
that's
like
my hope
game.
too. Is that all of these games are not going to be like majorly priced like titles because it doesn't seem like any of them feel like they should be anyway. Like it sounds more like they're that $20 to $40 range of like just more smaller like cut down experiences.
Or we do a Sega Classic Collection, and they just make them all into like one bundle game.
I mean, look, if they want to package all 5 of them into an $80 package, I'm definitely in for that too. Honestly,
and it would make sense because you can't
because that's honestly pretty decent value if even 3 of them hit.
Yeah, Crazy Taxi itself, I don't think can carry itself as a game.
No,
like other except as like a budget
even
game.
$30.
No, I'm saying like as like a full standalone release CD.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. But if they did like a Sega Collection for like the modern age, I could see that.
Oh yeah.
Although I hope it's like the music's good. I hope it's like still keeps like the SoCal style.
If the first song I hear in that is not Offspring, I will be very disappointed.
I just worry that it's gonna be like some mumble rap or hip hop or something like.
I mean, they'll probably do a bit of everything because there always is a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of punk rock, a little bit of metal, like a little bit of everything.
Oh, I have no problem with like classic. I'm just talking like the modern day like mumble rap stuff.
What, you're not a Lil Yachty fan?
I'm an old man. I don't like today's music. It's scary. It's different. I used to be hip. I used to be hip and with it. And then they changed what it was, and it was scary.
I mean, I've got a few that I was like thumbs upping, but like for the most part, the only other big one to me was Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which is essentially a new Don't Nod game. The guys who make Life is Strange. So, I mean, they basically were like, hey, same art style. Here's some really like chill, like garage rock punk music, and here's a bunch of girls, going through their daily life. I'm like, yep, that's Life is Strange in a nutshell. I'm in. Thank you.
That was like Life is Strange mixed with Stranger Things. So it's Life of Stranger Things. Or Life is Stranger Things.
I mean, you're not unselling me on that. So,
oh no, it sold me more.
Was there anything else out there that you guys wanted to shut up before we move on?
I want to talk about one thing, and it's not something I'm agreeing with. I am sick and tired of Hideo Kojima, and I'm sick and tired of the praise that he gets. Like, everyone's talking about this OD trailer, and it is the most like weirdest thing ever, makes no sense, and it's just like it's that kid in school that made like the weird like art house videos, and nobody got it, but everyone didn't want to be the first one to say this doesn't make any sense and it's stupid, and everyone's just like, oh, it's so brilliant and like avant-garde, and like, no, this is garbage and nobody knows what you're talking about, but I'm gonna be like, no one wants to be the first one to say it. It's garbage. OD is stupid. Like, no idea what this is about, makes no sense, and everyone's praising it. Like,
Kojima knows what it's about at this point?
No one knows what it is. Like, no offense, he doesn't make like these profound games. Like, he overhypes things, and like, yeah, like, remember Death Stranding was supposed to be like this whole thing of like reconnecting us and stuff. It was a walking sim. It was nothing special. And he's going out there
Kaylan,
and being like,
if you want gaming to be taken seriously like an art form, we have to have our weird art house guys who over-deliver or overhype and under-deliver. That's just the rule.
And then he's out there texting. He's like, OD doesn't stand for Oxygen Destroyer. And I'm like, nobody thought that's what it was. Like, get out of here.
No, but it's pretty apparent that he's like, fuck you, Konami. I'm going to make my own Silent Hill.
Yeah, well, definitely. Like, I'm cool.
Because apparently the door was very much like similar to the same door you open up at the beginning of PT or whatever. Like, that's what people were saying. I'm like, whatever. Like, I believe whatever that Kojima wants to do at this point. I mean, I think it's cool that he's working with Jordan Peele on it. I think that's a pretty cool name to be bringing aboard. But like, as a guy who has no interest in horror games, it's not making me suddenly want to play it more. It's making me also go, nope, I'm definitely not into for this now.
Kojima is not profound. Kojima's pretentious. That's my argument. Stop making it seem like everything he does.
I don't think anybody disagrees with you. I think some of them are just like, fuck you, I still like him though. I mean, if somebody's sitting there and saying he's not pretentious, then they're lying, because everybody knows he is.
Oh yeah.
We also talk about how they showed the Suicide Squad, and they still have not showed what this game actually is, and it just still looks.
I looked at that trailer and went, there is nothing that like. I don't know why they're trying to still put trailers out there to make you interested. There's nothing they can do. Like, no one's buying this game. Like, the only people that are buying it are suckers at this point. Like, and I hate saying that out loud to people that want to like it, but let's be honest, you're only buying it because you're a goddamn sucker.
It's basically like their best hope is that like Skull and Bones comes out the same year that this does, so they can at least.
I thought the Skull and Bones trailer was actually half decent comparatively.
It was, and it's coming in February, guys. We have a release date. We've been waiting for so long.
Is it really coming out in February? You know what? You're right. I should be skipping Final Fantasy VII Rebirth 3 days after my birthday so I can make sure I play Skull and Bones. You're right.
Imagine it does come out and it's like a fucking 10 out of 10 game. God,
like I keep saying on the show, I want to always eat crow because it means I get to play more awesome shit. So, you know what? I want Skull and Bones to be a 10 out of 10 because honestly, it would be the funniest fucking story all year.
It would. It really
would. Wow,
would.
Guys, what a sleeper. The previous
Skull and Bones Game of the Year would be the greatest story in gaming history.
Once in a generation, a game surprises us.
And then developers just going to realize, oh, so we just have to put the game in limbo for 15 years and it'll be good, right?
It's the Final Fantasy VII of the 21st century.
Yeah, based on the newly released Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
The other thing I want to point out, Sean Murray, good for you, man. Learning no lessons from No Man's Sky. Just coming.
What are you talking about? He's only doing one planet now.
Coming out here, fine. No Man's Sky is saying it's going to do all this and that, and then he comes out here and be like, "Hey, we're building this massive multiplayer online world that's like like he was coming out with promises left, right, and center. And granted, I'm not writing off Sean Murray. Like, cool for him.
No,
like,
but we got severe case of deja vu listening to that.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
Hello Games, like you redeemed yourself. You fumbled the ball. You took it on the chin, and you came back and you like made it good. But you learned nothing from this whole exercise. Like,
No, they're
simmer
basically
down.
doing CD Projekt Red. It's like, guys, Witcher 3 was released in a really bad state. Surely you've learned your lesson for Cyberpunk. And now Hello Games is coming out. It's like, hey, we've learned our lessons from No Man's Sky. We're going to make this new game that's still a ridiculously massive world that you're going to be able to play in. And there's totally going to be stuff to do in it this time. And we're just expecting there to be nothing in it again.
Sean Murray needs to like hire his PR team, his marketing team, and they need to hire, like, I'll hire you. You know what? I'll do this pro bono. This is my application. Sean Murray comes out and says, hey guys, we're making this game. It's a video game. It'll have fun things to do. Done. Like that's it. Like that's a safe comment to make, Sean Murray. Don't come out here being like, hey,
Why would
guys.
they hire somebody? All they need to do is just go to their local hardware store and buy a roll of duct tape, and it solves the problem. But Chris, was there anything else you want to point
This
out?
is not me knocking like Hello Games. Like, you know, once again, it could be fantastic, but we're already starting the same mistakes before.
There was one game that I saw. I can't remember the name though. And it was based on this old Chinese novel from like 1569 or something
Yeah, it
like
was based.
that.
Was it the one that was based off of oh my god, like Odyssey to the West?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I don't know what it was about that game. I think it was actually just because it's like based on this novel that's like 400 fucking years old. I was like, I have to play this for some reason. I think it might be a little Soulsy. Like it looks like it's that style of game. Might
Yeah,
be
I
a
got
little
that
bit
sense
yeah.
too.
So I won't play it only because of that, but I do wish it was just a typical action game because I loved that concept of it being based on that novel.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of them. I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
Yeah, for the love of me, I
As I
could.
find it, I'll know. It's just I'm scrolling through.
Like, there's like no
Emery
rest
wasn't
of
that.
no
That
rest
was
of the
the
wicked.
Yukimi Nakamura one.
Kamuri.
Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah, I think that's it.
No, it definitely
think-
is. Yeah, 100%. Because
Yeah.
I was watching
not
them be like,
asking.
this is like Enslaved Odyssey to the West, but hopefully people will remember it this time because Enslaved Odyssey to the West was a really good game that no one remembers.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
I remember it. I
Xbox
just didn't play
360,
it.
that's why not a lot of people remember.
Oh, I didn't have a 360, unfortunately. Yeah, that one interested me, but that's just in the concept, not if I'll actually play it or not, just because of the game style.
They also came out with the God of War Ragnarok Valhalla free DLC, which is cool. Good on them for doing a free DLC, but like I don't feel like playing a roguelite.
I mean, in the
God
end,
of War.
there was some good PR. I think that's really all it really was.
Yeah.
And then
Free
Hellblade
update, there you go.
Hellblade Setsuna.
Oh, that
Yeah.
looks
Senua's Sacrifice or Senua's Saga. I can't remember which title it is
Setsuna.
for the second one.
Setsuna.
The only other one that I noted was a Big Walk, which is the new game by the Untitled Goose Game developers, which just has the weirdest fucking look
with
ever.
Their hands out and shit. Yeah, I have
'Cause
no
it
idea
looks
what's
like-
happening in that game.
Yeah, because it looks like really good like graphics, except the characters all look like MS Paint. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but if it's Untitled Goose Game developers making a multiplayer game, I have to fucking know what this is going to be.
Is the game just walk around this nice environment and find each other? That seemed like all they were doing.
I assume there's so, like it's probably something like what was that game? Human Fall Flat or like other games like that where it's just you make your own fun. Like just go find something stupid to do.
Yeah.
That did look like fun. We should all play that when it comes out.
The other one that
Together.
kind of looks. The other one that we should definitely do that. The other one that looks cool for me was the first Berserker.
Oh yeah.
That looked cool.
I remember that one.
Very Dark Soulsy.
Oh, that's probably why I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
My last thing is that Jeff, I gotta level with you, and this is a guy who actually likes Monster Hunter. Don't say the words, and here's our last trailer, and I'll just let the trailer speak for itself, and then you reveal a trailer that doesn't show anything. Because that was Monster Hunter Wilds. Because I was like, ooh, what is this? But nothing's really happened yet, but I'm kind of curious. And then it just goes logo. And I'm like, oh, so we're going to get some gameplay or like we're going to see a big ass monster, right? And nothing. And I'm like, I mean, look, I'm happy because like I like Monster Hunter, but like even as a Monster Hunter fan, that trailer was kind of lackluster. Like my thought was just end with a Rebirth trailer. Like that would have done the job. That would have done it perfectly fine. Or even just like
And
a
with the
new
Sega
IP,
one.
like the Exodus trailer or the Last Sentinel, or just something different. But like to just reveal, like obviously a new Monster Hunter game is a big deal, and I'm honestly glad that Monster Hunter is getting that level of recognition for being something that deserves to be a. And here's our last trailer. Just Capcom, next time you want to do that, make sure the trailer doesn't suck. Because like I was really looking forward to the and one more thing. And even as a guy who likes the series, I was like, that was a real shitty last trailer.
All right.
Yeah, they should
So
have
let's wrap.
gone with. Oh, sorry. I was
Oh,
just
no,
going to
go,
make it.
no, go. Go for it.
I was just going to say to fix it, Adam. You have Monster Hunter the movie, the game. That's the trailer.
I mean, look, actually, yeah, it can't be much worse than the movie. So,
So let's wrap it up. Like, what are some of your final thoughts? What are some of your like overall impressions? Like, kind of like we talked about the games, we talked about the awards. What's just your general overall thoughts? Anything that we maybe haven't talked about? Like, closing thoughts on the Game Awards. What did you guys think? Adam, I know you had some opinions and some.
Yeah, I
some
feel like I
thoughts.
should let Adam go second and let all his opinions
go ahead.
just run.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm letting it stew.
I feel like I just have like, so I didn't actually watch the Game Awards. I didn't have a chance to, I wasn't there. Anytime I tried to watch, the Wi-Fi in the country I was in just didn't, well, in the resort I was in didn't allow it. So I didn't get to see a lot from the actual awards and everything like that. But we did just go through all the like, the winners and all that kind of stuff. And I was aware of some of them. I'd say the awards didn't shock me for like who won. There was the odd one who did or didn't, but it was a pretty obvious kind of year when it came to the awards. Alan Wake taking some of the stuff and all that was nice. Like there was some nice surprises. I wasn't really mad by anything, like even the Cyberpunk ongoing game and all that. Like for me, everything that won to me makes sense. Like it kind of fit. There's a couple I was like, oh, I really wish that one won, but it's not like the one that won didn't deserve it, you know what I mean? I feel like when I went to watch the trailers, I was like, all right, I'm going to watch a compilation of all the trailers for the podcast. I think flew back Saturday night really late. So on Sunday, I was like, I don't have much to do. I'm going to watch these trailers. And it was like an hour and 4 minutes or something of just pure trailers. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is like bigger than freaking June when it's all the releases for all the games, like the E3 style stuff. But I did find that a lot of the trailers of the games that were announced, I was expecting like 10% of them. Like everything else that came out felt like an actual announcement and surprised me, like Exodus.
That was the
Ronin.
big thing I was looking forward to, is that I had no idea what was going to show up because there was no inclination. I didn't spoil myself in anything either, and even from looking back in the Reddits that I usually peruse for that, wasn't really much either to spoil, it seems, because a lot of people were actually staying pretty tight-lipped about it because a lot of the announcements were not AAA like sequels, right?
No, there was so much like a God of War DLC. I wasn't expecting that at all. I knew there'd be another trailer for Final Fantasy VII, which we got, and that trailer was amazing. Obviously, gives just so much. And GTA 6, which ended up getting revealed before because it leaked. So they're like, well, screw it. Here, YouTube, here's GTA 6. So everything else to me was basically a surprise, but I was also very happy by it. Like, a lot of it also looked good. There was something kind of for everybody, whether it's the Untitled Goose Game or like, ex-BioWare people making Exodus. There's a bit of everything in there. And I actually really liked all the trailers. Every time one came out, I was like, oh, okay, that looks good. Oh, okay, that looks good. Holy fuck, Jurassic Park. Oh, okay, that looks good. And,
yeah, like a lot of the trailers still had the same problem of not showing gameplay, so you're not 100% certain what it is you're playing, but proof of concept was like, okay, I'm curious. Like that's the point of a lot of these, is at least to go, okay, I'll pay attention to your name next time I see a story about it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's why the award show was so long. There's just so many freaking trailers in there, and you got to do all these awards. As professionals ourselves doing this podcast, we know what it's like to have it run over time. That's why we don't do those reveals. We get reached out to all the time to do them. We have to be
I got like a
Capcom.
30-minute ad read I have to do.
I told Rockstar they need to stop calling. We're not interested in revealing the GTA 6 trailer.
Yeah,
We're
whatever
busy.
your
we don't have a time slot for it.
Grand Thefty Auto, whatever it's called, like we don't have time for that. We got a podcast to do.
Grand Theft
debuting
Auto,
Carjacker.
Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah.
No, that one can come in. That one we accept. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm waiting on Adam.
Do you need more stewing time, or do you want me to go?
I mean, do you have anything else?
I mean, it's me. I've always got something to say.
I feel like
Go
Adam
ahead.
should go last. I
Yeah,
feel
okay.
like Adam.
So I'm like of the mind, like it's not a bad show, but like it needs to be tighter, and it's really hard. Like I don't know if Jeff needs to move away from, like, he needs to cut costs somewhere. Like I don't know if he, like, flying everybody out. Like obviously he's not flying out, but like renting this huge hall to do it. Like maybe it needs to just be a webcast. Most people are watching it as a webcast. Like I don't know. I like, for me, like, to do a 4-hour show, like that's longer than the Oscars, and that's the Oscars. Like it's very self-indulgent, and like
The
I
argument
don't
you
know.
can make is that the Oscars don't show trailers for movies, though, which is the other side of it.
That's fine, but like I mean, there's a bunch of advertisements in there on top of the trailers, and I get that you have to do both. Like I don't know what the solution is, but like he needs to cut down the show, cut back the awards. Like we skipped a bunch of awards because we don't give a crap, and most people don't. So like he needs to kind of cut it back that it is digestible. Hour and a half, 2 hours, throw some trailers. Maybe he needs to get selective about what trailers he puts in the show, right? Like I don't know how he does it. Get rid of some of the people coming on to talk about their game. Like don't bring Matthew McConaughey out. Like that's time that you don't need. That's an expense you don't need. Like cut it back, cut it down, like slim it down. It doesn't need to be huge. Like this isn't the Oscars. Like this isn't something held out by like the industry itself. This is just Jeff Keighley, who was the first person to trademark the Game Awards. They're not even the Game Awards, they're just a Game Awards. Like we could literally do a show and call it like the annual game, like like acknowledgments or something like that, and like it would be just as official as Jeff Keighley would be.
We'll
Except
call
for
it
the
the
fact that we don't
Game
have the audience yet.
Scores.
I'm just saying, like, to be 4 hours, like it's gonna be hard for you to like entice people to come in and watch and spend 4 hours to watch this when I'm not invested. Like I could see these trailers afterwards for 20 minutes. Like, do we need to have that amount of pomp and circumstance to have a 4-hour show? For me, that's just where I'm at.
They could have saved 2 hours by getting rid of all the Fortnite shit.
But this is the problem. Like the Fortnite stuff is what pays the bills because it's an expensive show. But then you now have two levels of trailers. You have like the Fortnite advertisements, and then the new game trailers, which are still advertisements. Like we talked about, like, hey, these were an hour. You literally, Chris, watched an hour of commercials inside a show with commercials. Like I get the appeal, and like their trailers, they're slightly different, but like you can't have both. Like that just becomes a lot of advertisements inside of it. So that's just my opinion.
Well, and this is where I obviously get to the main question that I was wanting to ask, not even just to you guys, but to anybody watching and to just people in general. It's the major reaction that I saw from fans that are watching this show were like, oh, well, there was too many trailers in here. It's like, what's with the celebrity involvement? It's like, why don't they have awards where it's like, the biggest thing that I saw too was them talking like, why don't they let anybody speak? Like all the time guys were going up to do their speeches and you would hear the cutoff music like 30 seconds in. And they're like, well, why, like, what the hell? Like, this is supposed to be an award show. Why are we spending so much time, with celebrity fanfare and all this other stuff? To which I go, why the fuck aren't you watching the DICE Awards then? Or the GDC Awards that they do for IGF? They exist. So my question to a lot of people is, what do you want then? Because you already have the thing you're asking for, and no one watches it because no one wants to apparently watch a show that's just Game Awards and developers giving speeches. So is it the trailers that are too much? Well, if we get rid of the trailers, no one watches. If we cut it down, I mean, sure, that cuts the time down, but then people probably still won't watch because there's not that much trailers and there probably won't be nearly as many amazing games either. And it also means that smaller games, like, say, Big Walk with the Untitled Goose Game developers, might not get to be shown because they can only make room for so many things, and it just becomes a AAA fest. And then if we get rid of the celebrity involvement, well, let's be honest, we're still trying to be taken seriously as an art form. Whether or not you want gaming to be an art form, it's the only way that the general public is going to pay attention to what we're doing. And you got to have something in there anyway. I mean, you look at what Keanu Reeves did last year, that clearly worked. So maybe this year it just wasn't the right group of people. Like, McConaughey was cool to see him at the start, but then it was like, that could have been done with somebody else. Anthony Mackie, I love the guy to death, but the guy shouldn't speak on stage. He's very bad at it. Timothy Chalamet didn't need to be there. Hideo Kojima, way too much time spent with a translator when they could have easily just done a video of him talking where it would have been subtitled and it would have been half the time. So there's a lot of small things they could do, But like all of the core complaints that I saw was basically saying, I don't want the award show to be how it is, and I want it to be like this other thing that exists that I don't watch. And I'm like, so I guess the thing is we just don't do this anymore. We just straight up cancel the whole show because like apart from like you asked for Kaylan, like tightening it up just a little bit, which I do understand. Like I fucking wanted it to be tightened up because 4 hours of talking was a lot of talking.
It's a lot to ask someone to say like, hey, give me 4 hours to watch this show. It's like, for me, like, and once again, I'm unique in this, but not unique, but like I'm the one here with like a kid. So it's hard for me to be like, hey family, I'm shutting myself out for 4 hours because I need to watch this.
Exactly.
Whereas
that's much what you did wrong. It's, hey family, we're watching this as a family for 4 hours. Buckle up.
And you also make the argument though,
it's
that, like,
almost over.
Because you said, oh, even the Oscars aren't this long. Well, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. Less and less people every year watching the Oscars. So clearly the time isn't the issue either. It's the awards. And with the Oscars, I can tell you straight up why I don't watch, because it's literally just basically a bunch of dick stroking. Because it's really just the Hollywood giving all the studios awards. That's all it is. It's not actually talking about the coolest movies of the year, because we all know most of the movies that get nominated are movies none of us watched. Whereas I don't understand why people want the Game Awards to be the Oscars. I saw this a lot over the last week. Oh, why can't this be more like the Oscars? So you want games you've never heard of only getting nominated? Because that's what the Oscars are. You know what the Game Awards is? The Oscars, if all of the actual movies that people have heard about are getting nominated. Because if the Game of the Year award was being nominated the way the Oscars do Best Picture, you're going to get Baldur's Gate 3 as the only game that you've heard of, and then a bunch of indie games you've never heard about. That's going to be the Game Awards if they're the Oscars. So you don't actually want the Oscars as the Game Awards. Let's be honest, you just wanted the Game Awards with more stuff directed to you only, because you either didn't care about the esports stuff, which I don't, but I understand why it has to be there.
No,
you don't want the Fortnite stuff, which you said earlier, Kaylan, has to be there because it's paying the bills.
You gotta pay bills.
Mobile, like, we don't want to, none of us want to admit it sometimes, but mobile gaming is the biggest part of the industry right now, so it's inevitably going to be there. There's nothing we can do about it. So it's like, we're talking about all the things that we don't want to be there, but they have to be there, because if they're not there, it's just, let's be honest, the DICE Awards or the IGF Awards, that is just a bunch of talking, and no one's going to watch it, because go ahead. Like, I watch, I don't know if anybody knows the channel Second Wind. It's made by all the guys that left The Escapist, including Yahtzee Croshaw. But they even said they're going to stream the DICE Awards, and they know that their numbers are going to be dog shit because no one cares. Because no one's actually there to see, like, one of the staff members of Remedy Entertainment talking for 10 minutes about the troubles of making a video game. They don't care.
Yeah.
If they want to see that, they'll watch a documentary on YouTube. So the Game Awards is what it is. It's an award show with trailers, and people are there for the trailers in the same way that a lot of people watch the Super Bowl for the ads.
I think you make a good point. Like, the Game Awards are, this is gonna sound stupid, follow me with this logic. The Game Awards is a game award show for gamers. DICE and stuff is a game award show for developers. We don't develop games. We don't know the challenges that go into it. They do. So when they're talking to their peers. The Game Awards is directed towards us. And I think, like, there is something to be said. Like, I think it is a bit too self-indulgent. I think it, like, it goes, like, Jeff Keighley did it perfectly in the sense, like, hey, you want to see some new trailers? Great, they're here. You want to see,
I think he
your
needs to
favorite
step
games?
away from hosting, though. To be completely honest, I don't think he's a good host. I think it's time that he finds somebody to consistently do it, or even just bring in a guest that's just got a better voice for it, because his awkward delivery really starts to get old after the, third time you've seen it. Like, every year when he does his Muppets thing now, it's really fucking weird and really awkward, and it's not enjoyable. I don't know who enjoys these.
But this
I love the Muppets.
But this is
That's
like the
for
fluff,
me.
This is the fluff that could be cut, right? Like, once again, you need to trim it down, and like,
You guys are taking my favorite part of the show away all of a sudden. What the?
You didn't even watch it.
Yeah, and that's the part I was sad I missed.
But like, I think for me, it's not like, it doesn't need to change. It just needs to scale down. I think it's too big for what it is. And when you get that big, it's hard to stay afloat. And I think this is one of the things that E3 did, right? Where it just became too big, too expensive, and too bloated that it couldn't sustain itself. And I think that's what the Game Awards has the risk of being, where if it's like, hey, we're doing a tight 90-minute show, a 2-hour show. We've got some of the key things. We're going to drop esports because that's its own little league, right? We're going to drop the mobile games because let's be honest, nobody who's watching the game, like the people who play mobile games heavily and the people who watch Game Awards are not like the Venn diagram is not there. Like it's two separate
You say
things.
that, but you would be shocked, like just from Genshin Impact and Fortnite alone, how many people are paying attention to that.
I don't disagree with that, but those aren't necessarily mobile games. Those are games available on mobile.
No, but they are also part of that mobile market, the same like gotcha, constantly like ongoing market. It is definitely part of it.
But like you're it's just going with the idea of like, if you scale it back, if you have a smaller venue, if you even just do it as an online thing, right? Like have each presenter do a pre-recorded message if they win. Like you can do this a lot cheaper, and then you need fewer Fortnite advertisements. You need like you don't need to get as many advertisements and as much funding to keep this afloat. It's easier that you can make a tighter, smaller show. That's
but
what
then I could also make the argument that if we scale back, like if they go to a pre-recorded stream or a smaller venue and they get rid of certain awards and they reduce the amount of time to it, I honestly don't think it's considered a big deal anymore, and it probably loses its value. Because there's also the flip side of if you scale back, you're almost admitting that this isn't actually the biggest show of the year, which, let's be honest, actually is now, because especially with E3 gone, it is the biggest show of the year now.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that problem. And like all the complaints that we have, like, and I agree, like I didn't like the overwhelming celebrity involvement, but I also on the flip side know you got to have that in there in order to get some buzz from the outside media, because you need that. I don't like the fact that there were 7, like, if I'm being honest, I think it was like 4 or 5, but I keep being very hyperbolic because I hate fucking Fortnite. But like, I wish that the 79 Fortnite ads weren't in there, but I recognize that, well, it's one of the most popular games out there, whether I like it or not, so it has to have a presence there. I wish they didn't have to have multiple ads in it. I think it would be perfectly fine. Like, look, here's my even bigger, like, I'll open this up for a compromise, Jeff. Instead of having 5 Fortnite ads, I'm okay with you having a fucking Monster Energy drink ad or a Doritos ad. Like, I don't care. Like, if it's a commercial break, I'm perfectly fine with you advertising some products as long as the ads are entertaining. Like, if it's just a shitty ass ad, then that's different, which is what most of those Fortnite ads were, because they were not very good ads. Like, even if I was a Fortnite player, like, unless I'm drinking the fucking Kool-Aid, they weren't cool ads either. It wasn't doing anything special. So, like, I have no problem with advertising. I have no problem with celebrity involvement. I have no problem with, I wish that every award could get a speech time, but I know if we did that and even if you were being very stringent on how much time they have, that show's still going to go on forever because they currently have like something like 30 something awards. I'm happy with like what we have because I think it actually covers almost every base that we need to. The problem is any actual solution might actually take away from the vision it's going for. So I think I said this to my girlfriend the other night when we were talking about it. I said, I think we honestly just need to accept that the Game Awards are basically becoming the MTV Music Video Awards, and we just have to accept this.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I think you're both wrong.
It's become the Teen Choice Awards, and we just have to understand that means it's being directed to teenagers because of all the Fortnite and Genshin Impact and all. Like, even to me, an anime lover was like, okay, guys, all this Hoyoverse and all this weeb shit is getting a little bit much for me too. Calm the fuck down. But they know what sells. They know the gotcha games sell.
Yeah, that is true. I think it should be 6
like,
hours.
honestly, my argument as a whole, sorry to interrupt there, but it's just that I see a lot of people saying that the Game Awards should be X, and I go, but we have X, or if it's X, it will literally like lose any value it has. Like I think you're honestly like stuck with what we've got, and the only thing we can hope for is that they just tweak a tiny thing here and there just to improve it. Like I said, maybe somebody else hosting every year instead of Jeff would make it easier. Maybe instead of having the flurry of like 5 awards in a row where they just quickly go through them nonchalantly and act like they're not a big deal because there's other stuff to go through. Like, have a quick 30-second like pre-recorded video so at least somebody can get their say just to be something. And then instead of having Hideo Kojima out for 15 minutes to talk nonsense, we have like some time being dedicated to the people that you're awarding awards to. Like, I think there's some fine tuning to be done, but like anybody who's asking for the core concept to be changed, it's not a good idea. I'm being straight with you, even though I don't like the core concept all that much. Like, it's either this or we don't have an award show. Because I'm telling you, I have no interest in February when the Dice Awards happens. I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
No, they got to make it 6 or 7 hours. That's what they got to do. Go all in. I don't want the Game Awards. I want the Game Award day. I want just like a whole day.
Because like even the argument of, okay, well, what if they separated the trailers? Well, then we don't watch the award part. So again, that part's completely pointless. So it's like we don't have any options. Like if we get rid of the trailers, no one watches the awards. But then if we do get rid of the awards, people are going to complain that, well, no one's getting any recognition. Like, are we just going to go with what IGN rates as their game of the year now? Like, there needs to be something. Because like, I'm not saying the DICE Awards or the IGF Awards are not a big deal, but like, is anybody caring what gets that game of the year when it comes out? Barely even anybody cares when the Golden Joysticks come out. Like, it's really what this award show offers as game of the year is what people actually consider to be the game of the year. So it's like, unless somebody else comes out and does their own thing, in which case, good fucking luck, because I don't know how you're going to find the money to do a second version of this.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's just one of those things. It's not perfect, but it's the best option we got, and I think that's kind of where
it's kind of where I've sat with it. I went like, I don't like it, but it's probably the closest we're getting to what we're asking for, because as you said, it's a game award show for gamers, and unfortunately, a lot of our community fucking sucks, so we're kind of stuck with them too.
Yeah.
Anyways, it could be worse. It could be the Golden Globes.
Ooh. I think now that we burnt that bridge, I think that's a good place to leave it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you stuck with us and you're still here, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, if you haven't done yet, it really helps us out. If you want to have more of a conversation, we have a wonderful Discord. You can find it all on the link tree, linktr.ee/PixelPlay Podcast. You can find all our social media there. You can find how to connect with us. If you ever want to send questions in, we're happy to talk about those on the air. Anything like that, we greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week. Also, don't forget, on Fridays, we also post our side quest video. This week, we're looking at our PlayStation recaps, so check that out on Friday if you haven't already. And with that, see you guys next week. Bye for now.